Welcome to another episode of Diary of a Wannabe Comedian with me, Belle, a wannabe comedian. So, at the end of, it was the beginning of this year actually, I did my top 5 awards, so to speak, and one of those awards was Bellend of the Year. Well, who would have thought that there would be a Bellend of the Year by the 9th of January? More to the point, who would have thought that it wouldn't actually be our leader, Prime Minister Starmer? But there you are. It's not. It's actually... I saw this on LinkedIn, and I don't know whether they were being serious or just trying to provoke attention. I just don't know. But they were a software engineer. So, quite bright, one would have thought. But this is the post, and I'm going to read it to you now. Elon Musk is now worth $351 billion. There are 8 billion people in the world. He could give everyone $1 billion and still have 343 billion left. I'm like, is he serious? Anyway, there you go. I think John, I'm not going to say his surname, to protect the innocent or protect the dim-witted. But yes, I'm not going to say his name, unless, of course, he does actually win Bellend of the Year, which will obviously be at the end of this year. But there you go. So, John, I think you need to go back and have a few maths lessons. So that just tickled me. In terms of comedy, I had a nice surprise last night. A friend put out some feelers because they were obviously feeling January blues and they needed a bit of comedy in their life. And they'd found that Colin Hoult, I think his name was Hoult, was performing at the Soho Theatre. And as far as I'm concerned, he's a friend of Ricky. He's in Afterlife and he supported Ricky once. So he's a friend of mine. So I went along with him to see Colin and he was very funny. It was very funny indeed. He relied a lot on because he's from Nottingham. So it's kind of autobiographical about his life. And he relied a lot on his accent, and mimicking his brothers and his fathers. And his accent got much stronger when he was mimicking them. And I just couldn't help thinking of Reece Shearsmith doing my wife. It was exactly the same as that. But anyway, he was very amusing. I didn't realise he was ADHD. So he had a lot of material around that. And I honestly can't actually think of any specific jokes. He was just, it was one of those funny performances. It wasn't hugely belly laughing, like Ricky gets me going. But this, it wasn't like that. But it was consistent happiness feel. So I very much enjoyed that. And I do like the Soho Theatre. And even though we were right at the back, they were brilliant seats because you could see everything. The only other creative thing that I have done, I have attempted to do some baking because I used to bake and cook a lot. I just seem to have stopped doing it since I moved very central London for some reason. I don't know. I think it's just too easy to buy things out. Anyway, I went to the supermarket this morning and I bought all the things I needed. £27, which was, for vanilla essence, eggs, 2 lots of sugar, this particular recipe, flour, unbelievable. I mean, there was a couple of things in there, like apples and potatoes that were normal food, but the rest of it, £27. And I had to buy a balloon whisk because I don't have one. I don't know what happened to my other one, but I don't have one. So I bought one, 10 quid. Absolute bargain. It's like, how can you pay £10 for a kitchen implement and then £27 for just sugar and flour and stuff like that? I mean, it's just crazy. It's much healthier to bake yourself, isn't it? We all agree that. It must be. But they don't make it cheap. Anyway, the upshot is it was a disaster. But I think they just didn't work at all. They're just a big, gloopy, brown, sticky mess. And I think it's because I completely messed up the amount of flour that I put in. I don't know what I did. Well, I do know. I put the sieve onto the bowl and I thought I was being clever and tearing things off. And obviously I didn't. I mean, tear as in, weight tear. Anyway, obviously I didn't. And the upshot is gloopy, brown, sticky mess. Much love and gratitude.